Hello, everyone, and welcome to State of the Game for the 22nd of June. Again, I'm stuck in the corner by myself. Feels bad, man, but not so bad because I do have some special guests today. And we've got some new information coming about what's happening in 1.7, some things you haven't heard before. I don't have live gameplay for you today, unfortunately. We have no one to operate that, but new information, which is very, very cool. You can see down below that there is no PTS date just yet, but we're getting super, super close to being able to talk about it. And you'll be wondering why, what is this thing where I put it down in the down in the ticker, it says new classified gear coming in 1.7. What does that mean? Well, the good thing is I have some folks here to talk about that, which is really cool. Let me just unmute these guys and we'll see if that works. All right. Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Hey. Yeah.
All right. Terry and Keith
Hello.
from Redstorm. You guys are basically veterans of this stream now.
Nice.
Yes. What is this like? This is like a third time? Must be.
Third, 30th, whatever. It's all the same.
Who knows? Anyway, I guess I've seen some new players coming in. Anyway, my name's Hamish. I'm a community developer here at Massive in Sweden, and we have like this super fancy setup allowing me to talk to people in North Carolina. Man, the internet.
Good old North Carolina.
All right, Terry and Keith, could you guys introduce yourselves for the folks at home?
Sure. My name's Terry Spear. I'm the creative director here at Redstorm Entertainment.
And I'm Keith Evans. I'm the lead designer here at Redstorm on the division.
There you go. All right, and all I see is mostly comments about Keith's hair, and also like when Terry talks, they're like, "It's that D-bag again." Yeah, it's that D-bag.
That's me.
There you go.
Cool.
They're back again.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's going perfect so far.
Great.
Nailed it. Anyway, I promised that we'd talk about classified gear. All right, so we kind of have to start at the start, right? It's a pretty big new thing, right? Hang on, I have you guys too loud.
Okay.
Let me just adjust you.
Volume.
Yes. Hang on a sec. Oh, actually, if you guys can do that on your end, that'd be cool.
Cool.
All right, I'm sure your tech guy is on that already.
Yep.
Otherwise, I can do that on my thing over here.
go.
Anyway, okay, you got it. Perfect. Classified gear. Terry, do you want to kick us off? Top level? When we say classified gear, what are we talking about?
Classified gear are better versions of the gear sets that you know and love. I think that's the highest level we could go to.
Okay.
You want to jump into details, Keith?
Well, they're the next thing for you to strive for, especially if you have a set you already really love and identify with. We want you to be able to go all in on that, right? So there's a bunch of things that these are bringing to the table, but probably the biggest is that they're going to have special 5 and 6 piece bonuses,
Yes.
which is pretty awesome.
I think we also need to put the proviso on the 5 and 6 piece bonuses are extensions of existing gear sets. Just
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
the way we're talking about it now, people think these are entirely new gear sets, which you could view them as because there are 5 and 6 piece things which make them entirely different, correct?
They will change the way you play the game. Absolutely.
But we wanted to retain the identity of the set. So if there was something you really liked about Lone Star, the 6-piece will improve that.
It adds to the thematic. One of our goals was to kind of look at each set and say, like, what fantasy does this set fulfill for the player? What do we want this set to be about? And the 6-piece is doubling down on that fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very cool. So a couple of the questions that I've written down that I want to talk about. We talked about global events a couple of weeks ago, and those kind of tie in with how people will get classified gear pieces, correct?
That's correct.
How do I get a classified gear piece?
Well, when the global event kicks off, there will be 3 new classified sets that players can earn through the global events and through the reward system of the global events. Once the global event has concluded after the week, the classified gear sets that were included there will become a part of the common loot pool. So you'll be getting them in all the activities you do around the world.
And it's that new, ultra rare, exciting drop
Okay.
to kind of build on top of the excitement of getting exotics. Now there's these awesome classified pieces.
All right. There's going to be a lot of questions about this. So, guys, we're gonna stick around and answer as many as we can because there's a lot. And one of them that is a question that I had for you guys, and I know Junglist Dems is asking it now. I saw it a second ago. Gear score increase. What is that? Is that tied to this, or how?
No.
Where did classified gear sets sit? So they'll drop at 256.
That's correct.
They will. Yep.
But we could give some details about classified sets if you want.
I would love that,
preemptively.
because then
Okay.
I'm sure we'll probably answer a bunch of questions before
Yeah,
we even
Keith,
get
rock
to
it.
that.
So, I mean, one of the reasons, honestly, for not doing a gear score increase is because these slot in with your existing gear that you've already got, right? So there's some special things about the way these drop and the functionality they have outside of the 5 and 6. One of the major bonuses is that their base primary stat range is always going to start at the max of a standard 256 gear set piece. So just getting one of these to drop is like an exciting thing, and when you slot it in, you're improving your build just that little bit. Even if you already min-maxed, it's that much better.
Okay.
And because we want these to be, a rare thing, we're giving you the ability to recalibrate 2 stats. So
Okay.
maybe you want firearms and it's on electronics, you can kick it over to firearms and do one of your major or minors.
Nice.
Yeah.
Could you also just leave it on electronics and then do a major and a minor as well?
You sure could.
So you have complete freedom within those two that you want to.
Yeah.
Change. All
And
right.
just for specifics, right? If 1272 is your current primary attribute max, that's the lowest a classified can roll.
All
Like
right.
1272 to, let's just say 1328, we're still working out the max, but it's going to be better.
Yep.
Period.
All right.
100%.
So hopefully it drops at 1273. Otherwise you'll be like 1272. Damn, I already had a 1272. Anyway,
The key is
we'll
you're
see.
not losing anything,
Yeah.
right, by swapping this
Yeah.
out. And you have this chance for it to edge you up just a little bit, to give you those extra 300-400 stats of a particular, primary.
Right.
So I think you mentioned it a minute ago, Terry, but I think to reiterate, so these will happen during the global events, but not all of them, correct?
Nope.
All
Just
right.
three.
Just
three
three.
three for each global event.
All right.
The plan is to do a classified version of every gear set in the game.
All right.
Yep.
And so these will be divvied out in the global events to begin with, and then, like I said, after the global event, those 3 will be released into the wild for farming.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the questions I see coming up, and I have that one too. Can you give some examples of the 5th and 6th piece bonuses? The 5th piece ones are kind of, I think, the first thing that we should do. What kind of things will we see on the 5 piece bonuses?
So the way the 5-piece bonus works is it's another, it's basically an increase of the 2 and 3 piece, right? So the 2 and 3 pieces are designed to help give the sets an identity. This is like an additive stat onto that. So final measure is going to kind of be like our example because that's dropping in the first set of 3.
Okay.
And you get EDR and protection from elites with that. The 5-piece bonus is an additional increase on both of those stats.
Okay. Well, let's run with the final measure example for a little bit. The 6-piece bonus on that we want to try out. Obviously, these things are all subject to change based on
absolutely.
our testing on the PTS, I would imagine. What is the current plan for the final measure set as a 6-piece?
Yeah, so pretty excited about this.
Okay.
It's pretty neat, but the idea is, obviously final measure, you can defuse a grenade every 8 seconds. Now, if you go in to all 6, it's kind of adding to that support nature role of the set. So if you get a buff to yourself and to your teammates for what type of grenade you diffused. So EMP
That's cool.
shock, it's going to give you a skill power increase, 15% for 8 seconds. Incendiary, is going to give you a weapon damage increase. And then flashbang and tear gas is going to give you an armor increase. So you can kind of get in there, jump on the grenade, buff your team up, and just like push through the front lines.
That's really cool, especially with one of the things that people are talking about in Last Stand, in particular, with the grenades being used a lot, right?
Absolutely.
You guys have been testing this internally. What are those play tests with the final measure 6-piece been like? Has it changed the way that people are playing Last Stand and that sort of thing?
The buffs have an impact. They have a huge impact.
Yeah.
So, the grenades are coming out, and as long as people are aware of the buff they're getting, right? We're asking people to be a little bit more skilled and identify, like, okay, that was an incendiary grenade, so it's weapon damage. Okay, everybody, focus on weapon fire and so on and so forth. So it's been really good for turning the tides from those grenade spammers.
And kind of an additional thing is, like, as the grenade spammer, you see that, like, you just procced a buff on your enemy by doing this, right?
Yeah.
So it makes you think a little bit more about tossing your grenade in. Before maybe they defuse one of them and you toss another one. Now they're actually going to be, have that little bit of edge on you.
Would you say that's tactical?
It's tactical.
It is tactical. Although
Man.
I'm now thinking of like the cheesy tactics, because we currently have that bug in the game where Final Measure actually diffuses friendly grenades. That's fixed, right?
What?
That's
yeah.
We fixed that along with
thank
this
you.
new thing.
Okay, good. Because I was like, well, if you eat your own grenade, do you buff the other team?
You do not.
All right.
Yeah.
And we have, just like everything, we've gone in, we fixed it. If we see something else on the PTS, we will fix that too.
Yeah.
We will not ship with, that exploit for sure.
Yeah.
PTS is the key.
Yep.
Yes. And you go. Sorry.
And just kind of to go along with that, like, we're looking at each of these classified sets as we introduce them to the community as our chance to, address some bugs with the set, maybe make changes to the 4-piece if we feel that something was out of balance or not fitting the thematic we and the community wanted it to be. So we'll be, fine-tuning the sets as they get reintroduced.
Yeah.
Okay, so
with
with Final Measure being the first ones, let's go down that path for a little bit. What would be the first sets that would be up for a rejig?
In Global Events 1, it's Deadeye, Final Measure, and Lone Star. So those are the first ones that players could get their hands on.
So I would love if we could talk about those things for a little bit.
Sure.
Obviously, and disclaimer, the PTS is a way for us to test things. When we do try out things like Deadeye and Lone Star, those changes, the changes are subject to change in of themselves. But what are you guys wanting to try out with Deadeye and Lone Star on the PTS?
Excuse me. So, for Deadeye in particular, obviously it's been a big topic in the community.
What?
I know. But we don't want to change the identity of the set completely. And, there's multiple things that are causing the current Deadeye meta. So we're tackling it from a few areas. One is we are going to be testing a change on the 4-piece for the PTS.
Okay.
And that's going to be that you can still get your 100% crit chance from cover, but you are set to the current max of 60% when you're doing the same behavior out of cover. So it's still an awesome increase, but it's not a 100% chance. If you want the full DPS potential, you're planning yourself in cover and playing a little more tactically.
All right.
We recognize the SVD, it's cool because it's a high RPM, rifle. So we want to let players continue to do that.
But, there are changes coming on the SVD too. So, the stability and accuracy are obviously kind of a little bit out of line with a lot of the other high RPM marksmen. So there will be changes on those stats to bring them a little closer to like the M1A.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, if people kind of remember back to, when I think M1A, I think balanced first wave M1A right when we released the game and the problems that we had with that. I would imagine that'd be similar changes, maybe not as hefty, but we'll be able to test that because we have the PTS now, which is really cool. Let's say in an alternate reality that those changes don't work. Do we have any other options?
There are multiple Deadeye 4-piece changes, that are bigger in scope, right? But along with not wanting to completely change it for people who like the behavior, we're starting here and we'll be listening throughout the PTS.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So we talked about Deadeye. Lone Star as one of those interesting ones because there have been times when there's been fringe builds that have kind of worked. We've had like the double Cassidy thing, which is kind of fun and that sort of thing. But where would you like to take Lone Star from here? What when we do get to change it, what are the tests that you're hoping to do?
So for Lone Star, we don't have any big balance changes coming in for Lone Star. But what we want to do is kind of the 6-piece is going to really let you play that Jesse Ventura, Predator, just holding down the fire button moment. Kind of let you go a little berserk is kind of how we're looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah, live that fantasy, that power fantasy of just two gigantic LMGs. Well, or
not dual
shotguns,
wheeled, right? Like,
No, not dual wheeled.
Okay, good.
Okay, let's clarify. That's my fantasy.
All right. Okay.
But
cool.
let the player have that and give him a damage buff, right?
Yeah. So the way it kind of works is you get this when you do the reload behavior. So you're playing just like you are right now. You swap your weapon. You pull the next one out. It's refilled. You have this chance for a buff to proc on you. And when you fire that last bullet in the clip, you'll consume that buff, and it will instantly refill, and you'll have a higher RPM, and it'll just kind of feel like you keep laying in. You'll have a chance for this to proc with like an internal cooldown.
Nice. That's really, really cool. And so the other set we talked about, Final Measure, the changes are mostly happening in the 6-piece, correct? Like
it's bug fixes, like the one that you pointed out,
Yeah.
and then changes in the 6-piece. I think the EDR, the increase in EDR is going to be pretty big, because we really want to encourage like people who have this set to feel confident to get in there and
Jump on the grenade.
jump on that grenade, and kind of be up in the front lines.
Yeah.
So with the increase on the EDR, what we're testing for PTS1, you'll be at a base 40% EDR by equipping the 6-piece.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a pretty powerful stat.
Nice.
And we understand what we're asking people to give up. I think that's another thing about taking these 6 pieces out of context. But people are going to have to replace their exotics and stuff like that, and that's a big ask.
We want it to be a hard choice for you when you're like, do I want to go into this all the way to the 6-piece, or do I want to stop at the 5-piece and still use my Barrett's chest?
Right.
Okay. That's really, really cool. I have a few more questions, because I think we could probably talk about this for a very, very long time. And I know at the ETF we went way over time talking about these things, because it's a super big addition to the game. One of the questions, and I've seen it in chat a couple of times, how do classified gear pieces interact with current gear pieces? You don't need to only have a set of classified and a set of regular, right?
No, so you can, as you're farming for these, right, like you already have your Deadeye set, and you get the chest piece, the classified chest piece drops. You can slot it in, and you'll still have your 4-piece Deadeye. And you can mix and match those to get the 2, 3, 4. But then you have to have all classifieds to unlock the 5 and 6. So it's, you're not kind of like losing your build identity as you work towards the 5 and 6, but you're just slightly gaining a little bit of power with each piece.
Oh, okay. All right, I understand. All right, so you can only get 6-piece if you have 6 classifieds.
Yes.
5 and 6.
Yep.
Must be classified.
Yeah, and the UI kind of like calls it out. You only see the 5 and 6-piece bonuses when you kind of look at a piece of the classified gear.
All right. Are they going to be a different color? I see people have brought that up in chat a few times.
No, they're not. They'll be green just because they're gear sets, right? We don't want to create any confusion. Of course, there'll be a fancy sound, so you'll know, right? And there will be a difference, but the color itself will remain green.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we are running out of colors.
Yeah, the UI team would not be happy if we were like, guys, can we have another color? Like, no, there are no more colors left.
Yeah, well, you'll be able to tell the difference without a doubt. It's very important that there's a distinction both in your inventory, on the in-world drop, right? All those things. It'll be very clear this is a classified piece.
All right. So
that little ching you get with the 4-piece bonus when it activates, you'll have a different sound effect for the 6-piece, stuff like that.
What sound was that?
A little ching.
All right.
Yeah.
A little ching. Nice. So when the global events happen, and we're trying to get those global events tokens, I know that there are different tiers of caches, correct? And people can get those down in the terminal.
Correct.
Okay, so what are those different tiers of caches, and why would I want certain ones of those?
Well, what we're going to test out is if each tier of chest has a higher chance of these classified pieces. So the global events are going to allow players to focus on specific gear sets. So in the caches for global event 1, it's going to be Deadeye, Lone Star, and Final Measure.
Okay.
And the higher tier of cache is a greater likelihood that you'll get a classified piece. If it's not, it'll be one of those sets, giving players an opportunity to focus down. Believe it or not, there are people that don't have complete sets of everything. So, hey, cool, I've never had a final measure set. So I know that if I play this global event, I can focus on caches and finally get that final measure that I want.
Or you could play on your gambling addiction and just always go for the lower tier caches and just try and luck out.
Absolutely. Because you'll be able to get those pretty fast, and it'll be like that chance of getting exotic in the open world versus, targeting it.
Yes. Okay, let's jump into the future a little bit, because we've talked about the first three, right?
Yes.
Are there any sets that you're comfortable with talking about, maybe some of the intentions that we might see in the future? Or
Sure.
Okay, let's see if how far we can go down there without getting in trouble.
So we're going to be testing more than just those three on this PTS.
Okay, cool.
And we're going to make them super readily available to you. We don't want this to be a thing where you have to kind of grind forever just to test out these new metas. So there will be, at certain points in the PTS, there will be caches that you can open that just give you full sets, and they'll be free. And we're going to be testing out the first 6. So it's the stuff that will come with the first 2 global events. So the second set is going to be Sentry, Striker, and Reclaimer.
Nice. Okay, I just saw actually that someone brought up Sentry, like make Sentry great again. Back when we had Falcon Lost and stuff. What are some of the things? What are some of the things that you would like to do to Sentry on that 6-piece, or on the 4-piece? I don't know if that's looking to be changed as well.
So for Sentry, basically, we're doing a bunch of little things, but the coolest one is the 6-piece. And it's going to allow you to put 6 marks on a target. And after the 3rd mark, each additional mark has a chance to spread to nearby targets. So you can be that person in the back, plinking things with your pistol, and not focusing on super high damage, right? Mm-hmm. But basically getting up to 6 marks on a really powerful NPC or player, but then also kind of procking that out to nearby agents. So by
really cool.
Keep laying in headshots, you're really helping out your team.
You might argue but Keith, there's no way that I could get 6 marks on a person. They'll die.
Yeah.
Well, we're taking PvE into account too, right? All the cool legendary stuff and other things. You're going to be able to really utilize this new 6-piece in PvE quite nicely.
Do you guys?
Yeah, and the 3 additional marks, those specifically will only be on NPCs, because we are keeping the PvP balance in mind, and we don't want to completely shift the meta to this. Yeah. But we want it to be a really fun tool for you, spreading marks and getting that extra DPS in legendary missions.
That's really cool. I think it's cool because we to having some sets that are PvE focused even, but still usable in PvP is super great. We talked about Sentry. Striker was the other one you mentioned, I think. What can we see with that one, maybe?
I feel like if I talked about Striker off the top of my head right now, I would misspeak.
Yeah.
All right. Because we're in the midst of kind of implementing that one currently to get it up on the PTS.
Well, we'll hold that one until the PTS.
We'll keep that one a surprise.
It was OP. So
we're doing some changes to it.
All right, but that's it's got to happen. And the other one was, did you say Reclaimer?
Reclaimer.
Yeah. So Reclaimer, the core of the set is we want you to kind of have this chance to proc this buff so that when your support station goes down, the cooldown is instantly refilled and you can drop another one. So by going all in on the 6-piece, you're kind of reinforcing your role on your team, and kind of having a chance to, just almost feel like you have 2 skills. You're just, dropping that second one immediately.
The Reclaimer is so obviously reliant on the support station. Yep. So this gives players an opportunity, if they go all in, to be like, oh, cool, you killed my support station. Guess what, sucker? Boom.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
I just got really handbags everywhere. Just not a problem.
That's right.
All right, that's really cool. And obviously, there's a lot of other gear sets that we're not talking about today, but there will be more of those coming in global events in the future. And if you missed anything about global events, you'll have to go back 2 weeks, either our past broadcasts on thedivisiongame.com, there'll be a State of the Game article that has the VOD in there, or our the podcast as well. You can find out more about the global events and that. But you'll also see them on the PTS coming soon. I wanted to have a bit of a more general discussion outside of the classified gear sets with you guys as it pertains to general design intentions for 1.7. Since you guys are pretty big on the PvP side of things, and our vocal community is, it's both PvP and PvE, but we have a lot of PvPers. And I wanted to get your thoughts on what the biggest problems are in PvP right now, and your intentions for 1.7.
Well, I think we could all know that Seeker's a pretty big challenge for us.
Yeah.
Although there are plenty of people that do like it, we realize that most people don't.
Yeah.
So, we know that the Deadeye has been a challenge as of late. There have been numerous other things, but we've been focusing on those two for general design intentions for 1.7.
Yeah.
So you've already kind of heard the change, about Deadeye, making it so that you want to plant yourself in cover and have to play a little more tactically to get that full benefit, and tuning weapons and just trying to get the kind of easy DPS wins to kind of lower the potential of the super automatic DPS wins.
I mean, obviously, this is a discussion we've been having pretty shortly. I mean, since shortly after the release of 1.6.1, because it became pretty clear quite early on that these were the two outliers, and maybe to a lesser extent the defense sometimes, which I use. So.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's fun.
Way to go.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks for being that guy.
No, it's cool. Come on. And we do need to be real. While there are these outliers, this is the biggest build diversity we've seen in PvP ever.
Yes.
That is true.
Thank you for that.
But there are problems, of course. Why do we have to wait until 1.7 to fix these things? If we've known that these are problems, why we got to wait?
That's a good question, my friend.
I like putting the hard ones on you guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll tell a quick story, right? I guess, just to be honest, and I think some people have heard me say this on the Friday streams, we were pretty happy with the Seeker changes, just being totally transparent. And I wasn't seeing, Keith wasn't seeing these challenges in the live game, right? Because we play the Division a lot. So it wasn't apparent to us. And we heard the community and was like, well, gosh, what's really happening? So we sat down and we said, you know what, we're going to build the most uber tactician, super duper. Let's try to get the juiciest one-shot Seeker build we can put together. And we're going to play with it for a few days and just see like how messed up this is. Just really put some truth behind the words and see what it felt like to play with it. And
do things like give it to the entire opposing team.
Yeah.
See what it feels like when you have
eight of
those builds coming at you.
Yeah. And guess what? It wasn't fun.
No.
Wow.
The community is right. That's right. So we want to throw it on the PTS, right? We wanted to make sure that we weren't hasty and rushing a change out, right? We wanted to make sure that the community wasn't going to find a way to adapt, because like I said, we were happy. We felt like it was a good change, but it had never happened, right? It just continued to be a pressure point and a point of contention. And so, okay, we hear you. We will continue to listen, and we're not done ever. And it's a live game, so
exactly.
We're going to throw it on the PTS with some changes, right? And continue to noodle on it, continue to work on it.
No,
so I guess that's why.
So obviously, then there comes I'll be devil's advocate here. For the people that do enjoy Seekers legitimately now, will they be able to still run Seekers? What kind of changes are we making to Seekers for those people who are running them? Or testing on Seekers, to be more accurate?
So the stuff we're testing, right, is we want to give a clear identity to what the airburst is for, and we want to look at the unmodded Seeker and make sure that if you're doing one-shots with the unmodded, you have built super specific and you're playing really well, right? Like you have a great tactician build, you have, all your everything, you're at 30, and there you go. So what we're doing is a damage increase on the airburst, a pretty substantial one, and making its identity more about area denial.
Did you say damage increase?
That's not what I meant.
Yep.
That's the opposite.
Oh my god.
Hold on.
It's a 200% damage increase on airburst.
Nope, that's not true.
Guys, I'm done. I'm out. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
No, it's actually a 60% decrease on the initial explosion damage, and making the identity of the set more about area denial and keeping the fire part of it in there. But we're making some other changes along with like medkit cleansing to make that more easily counterable and more fun to play with. So now when you are on fire and you do your medkit cleanse, you have a little bit of immunity, so you can dodge roll out of the fire and not immediately be back on fire. So those two things are kind of how we're addressing airburst.
That's
and
cool.
then we're doing another balance pass on the unmodded Seeker. So, if you want the full DPS potential, like I said,
Okay.
It's going to be a little bit harder for you to reach, and you're not going to be one-shotting crazy tanky builds.
Very cool. Oh,
No,
man.
also-
You guys triggered chat so hard. Like,
Yeah,
you
man,
have,
I wish I wouldn't have said that. to be
I'm
honest.
I'm recovering slowly, and I think many people
You'll
are.
be fine.
Yikes. Okay.
Recover. And these changes are also made in mind with the fact that Tactician will have a new classified set. It'll have a 6-piece.
Yep.
There'll be things to do
Okay.
to make it possible. Like, again,
Absolutely.
I still am a fan of the electronics builds. I'm still a fan of letting people play the way they want to play.
Yeah.
This isn't a game just about guns, and we acknowledge that. So,
One of the things that makes it special,
Yeah.
Totally. I think
So-
that's important.
Airburst Seeker will still have a place in builds, even without the 6-piece, 6-piece sets coming with Tacticians. But it's, it will be less and less rare to just see a rando, roll in and one-shot you, that sort of thing. Because, okay, we
Yep.
get it. Yeah, absolutely.
And we've been playing with these changes for a while, and we feel much, we feel pretty confident about putting them up on PTS, and we'll do tweaks as needed. But I'm very excited for what this is going to do to the game.
We know you'll tell us how you feel.
Yep.
No, and we need that. So it's very helpful to have more of player feedback as we get it.
And if I can say one thing about the PTS, too.
Yeah. Please.
It will be super important. I've seen some patterns in the past with the PTS where there'll be a meta that emerges because something isn't all the way tuned, right?
Yeah, we
And
had it with the Valkyrie and Hilda, like the SMG stuff last time.
they jump on the PTS, and then it's all about just showing look how OP it is. Look, I'm just going to play with that, and I'm going to play with that over and over and over. That doesn't really... The initial find helps us, but what we need you to do is, please, if you can play stuff that you don't normally play. If you run Deadeye, try Lone Star. If you run Alpha Bridge, try Strikers, right? Try things you never play, and rotate, right? And get really in deep with the things that maybe aren't the most powerful, so we can get feedback and data on all those things, because that will help us tune everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, it would be better if we could. I'm thinking of like the Seeker gear set when that came out, and people were doing 2 billion SMG DPS from across the thing. Like, we knew very quickly, but
Yep.
that kind of wasted a bit of PTS time for us. We don't have dates again, just as a reminder for the PTS yet, but we're getting very, very close. There will also be console PTS, and there will be news about how you get on that, where you can get on that, and all that sort of thing soon.
Jump on.
But there's a lot, and also people are calling for nerfs to Terry's Cup, so we'll see if we can work on that.
Terry's Cup.
Megalodon.
Megalodon. Megalodon's like my favorite dinosaur. Not technically a dinosaur, but
Well, this is Megalodon. Hamish meet Megalodon.
Megalodon. All right, solid. That's a good name. I like it.
Nice.
Someone says that's your protein mug. Apparently, you just drink protein shakes out of it. That's why you're gigantic.
Right.
And I am not. Okay. So we did talk about Deadeye a little bit earlier, but I think in talking about Seekers now, being one of the outliers, we could probably reiterate for the people who just came where we kind of feel Deadeye should be and where it is now.
So, I mean, the main changes that we want is you're obviously, you're incentivized to use these high RPM marksman rifles with it, and we get that, and that's the way people play it. We want to tune out some of the inconsistencies on the high RPM marksmans so that the ones that are much easier to use, like the SVD, they get a little more in line with weapons like the M1A. And then we are changing that 4-piece so that if you want to play with 100% crit chance, you are making yourselves a little more vulnerable and you're playing a little more tactically. You're getting into good cover positions, and you'll still have your 100% crit chance. Okay. If you're doing the behavior a lot of people do right now, where you're out in the open and you're kind of, going back and forth, you'll have 60%. So it's still a powerful set. You still have great DPS potential, but to get the best benefit, you're putting yourself in cover. You're a little more exposed.
You're taking a seat because you're playing a sniper build.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. All right, and again, that's just what we're testing on the PTS. Sure. So we want to know what you guys think about it as we test those things out. One of the questions I've seen a lot, and I realize I'm well over the half hour we usually do, but this is kind of fun. I'm enjoying this. People have got a lot to say about these things.
Good.
Someone brought up something about the ninja bike before. That backpack.
Yeah, super useful.
Best backpack in the game.
I think we did a thing or two to that thing, didn't we, Keith?
Oh, this is cool. I like this.
Yeah, that is also going to be up on the first version of the PTS. So
it's probably not what you expect either.
We hope you listened to us and did not delete all of them from your inventory or your stash. But the new identity of the set.
Put your thinking caps on, people.
Yes,
because this isn't just it's an increase to a number.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a theory crafting mind screw.
We want it to be kind of that ultimate theory crafter's exotic piece. So what it's going to be is a wild card to gear sets. So
what does that mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, Keith,
so
what does that mean?
Imagine if you have 3 pieces of Alpha Bridge and 2 pieces of Firecrest and the Ninja Backpack. The Ninja Backpack will slot in and fulfill set requirements to unlock additional bonuses. So you'll have 4-piece Alpha Bridge and 3-piece Firecrest. So you can get really creative with this. On the PTS version, you can have 5 different sets and the Ninja Backpack and get 5 2-set bonuses.
What?
So there's a lot of things we're testing with this. We are expecting a couple, OP combinations to come out, and we want you guys theory crafting and finding those. But we're really excited about the build diversity this is going to create and the forum, message threads of people trying different stuff. It's going to make the weekly builds pretty exciting. I think.
Thematically, right? Yeah. The ninja is everywhere.
Yeah, he
can do anything at any time. You never know.
That's fighting from the shadow.
That's cool. There may be some cases where it's OP, like you said, and maybe some that aren't as good. But I think we can all agree that's better than what it is now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. We reviewed a lot of it and did nothing crazy jumped out at us. Nursery, right? We played with it a little bit, so we're super pumped about the PTS, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Unleashing the brains of the community and showing us how broken it is.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge PTS. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
From a gear balance standpoint, there's a ton of stuff to dig into on this.
While I would like to keep you guys around all day, you guys have work to do.
Yeah, I guess we do have some work to do.
Yes. So I'll let you go. Anything for the community that you want to say before we head off?
Yeah, actually, just one little tiny thing, right? As always, there's a lot of stuff we can't talk about, and this is information in a vacuum. So the summer, year 2, has a lot of stuff, and the goal really is to make the entire player base happy. Right, so if you're like, oh, but what? This doesn't make me happy and things and stuff. As we try to always say, as Hamish always says, we're listening, we're watching, we're playing, and the entirety of the year 2 content hopefully will satisfy everyone.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, this is a snapshot.
Very cool.
And specific classifieds, they're all coming. If your favorite set isn't in these first 6, it will be there. We promise.
And we haven't even talked about 1.8 yet, but we'll get to that later.
Lee.
All right, I'll let you guys go, and I'll finish off the stream in just a second. But thanks for joining me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, take it easy. All right, I think that was a lot of cool information. I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot there. I managed to check in with chat a little bit, and people seem to be interested. There's a lot to talk about. As you guys know. So, classified gear sets, we're talking about changes to sets that maybe you're frustrated with and that sort of thing. Like I said during the stream, and like the guys were saying, we've, seen what's been happening on 1.6.1 for a long time. But with this PTS coming up, we have a real opportunity to test a lot of things and make some really educated changes, which I think are all mega positive. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Anyway, to reiterate, no date for PTS just yet. I also would love to use this opportunity before the PTS starts to get even more feedback on what you think are the biggest things about 1.6.1 that you love and really don't. So the feedback and suggestions part of the forum is great. Please be involved in all the general discussions that you absolutely can. But we'll have lots to talk about very, very soon. And next week, Yannick should be here, so you guys won't have to put up with me as much. Anyway, I will see you all next week. If you missed anything, the past broadcast will be up soon, and obviously there's a bunch of YouTubers who do the recap videos, which is cool. There's an article coming up tomorrow that Matt wrote. So Matt Schotcher, who's still in chat, who shouldn't be, he's on vacation. There's an article from him going up tomorrow, which might even have some screenshots in there, but we've talked about most of that stuff that you'll see in there. But it'll go into a little bit more detail, a little bit more concise than this conversation we've had, I think. Anyway, I don't even know which screen to look at anymore. If you missed something, past broadcasts, a bunch of great YouTubers out there that will have recaps. Also, the podcast as well, if you're a podcast listener, that's cool. Sometimes it's good to not watch Twitch while you drive, and I think the podcast can help you out there. I'll see you all not tomorrow. If you're in Sweden, you're having Midsummer tomorrow, like myself. So enjoy your pagan rituals and songs about frogs, and we'll see you on Monday. All right, take it easy, everyone. Bye. Wait, where's the thing? There it is. All right. Bye.